Transcripts and recordings of the podcast may not be used for any purpose without the direct written permission of the podcast owner. Welcome to LITE It Up, a podcast about resilient women balancing motherhood, their careers, personal lives, and all of the challenges that come along with being a superwoman. Each week, you'll be motivated to take action, to lead, inspire, transform, and empower. Now, here's your host, Dr. Aginah Musherah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of LITE It Up. I am your host, Dr. Aginah Musherah. I am so excited about this week's episode because I have a returning guest to LITE It Up Podcast, Letina Brady Pettis, who is the founder of Get Out to Vote for Teens. And she is a newly published author. So we have lots to talk about on this week's episode of LITE It Up. So welcome to LITE It Up, Letina. How are you?
How are you? Thank you again for having me to come back on your show.
Yes, I'm so excited that you said yes. You have been very, very, very busy. When you came on last season during season 8, we were talking about your organization, Get Out to Vote for Teens, and your goal of helping to register teens to vote. This is a very critical time, as we know. We have the upcoming presidential election on November 5th. And the laws have changed a bit to whereas 16-year-olds can pre-register to vote as well as 17-year-olds. And so I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about, number one, the importance of our teens, our young people getting involved in the political process, and also hear about some of your initiatives that you've engaged in, because although we're a few weeks late, but you've had a kickoff event that you held with the National Teen Voter Registration Day, which was on September 10th. Your book was released on September 10th. So that was just a wonderful day. So I want to hear all about what you've done. But first, let's just refresh the audience about Get Out to Vote for Teens and what your organization strives to do.
Okay. So Get Out to Vote for Teens was started after a law was passed allowing 16-year-olds to pre-register to vote. Unbeknownst to a lot of people, there was another law that was already existing 10 years prior to that was allowing 17-year-olds to pre-register to vote and vote in the primary as long as they turn 18 by the general election. I sat on this idea for a while and I was just like, how can I bring more awareness to the teens and let them know that their voices is heard? So that's why I came up with Get Out the Vote for Teens. And the importance of Get Out the Vote for Teens, I want the teens to understand that your voice matter as well as an adult voices matter, right? A lot of things that's taking place now, I don't have to endure that coming up now. Everything's just affecting you all now. So it's like you all are shaping the future. You can actually engage in the policies that's taking place. And I also tell people all the time, just don't tell a teen to register and vote. Have them sit at the table. Let them understand what's going on at this table. Let them know these politicians that's actually supposed to be advocating for them. Let them know what a state representative does. Let them know what a state senator does. So they can not just vote and not just register to vote, and they'll know who they're voting for and why.
Oh, that is an excellent point, because surely if you register to vote but you don't exercise your right to vote, then that's for naught. What are some ways? I know you mentioned, having teens sitting at the table so that they can learn about who their legislative officials are, who their local officials are. But what are some ways that you've been involved in terms of making sure teens are aware just about the overall political process and the importance of them actually going out to exercise that right to vote?
I want to say that I have to give a big thank you to the schools I have been going to, the principals and the teachers. They actually been helping tremendously. It's like when I say I want to register the teens to vote, they get them excited. They actually tell them all the things I just told you about. They're telling them that even after that, they give them a post teaching part about why it's important for them to vote. Why did this person take this time to come and help you register to vote? And there's also a girl named Tammy Gibson. She helps me do this thing called All I Want to Do Is Vote. Is an exhibit that she actually has a display, and she talks about how the obstacles and what it took for us to actually register to vote. So she actually put that as a physical thing, and I actually do it as a visual thing. No, she's visual and I'm physical, like they're registering to vote.
Gotcha. You know what? The other piece that you mentioned is about the law that's been on the books for 10 years where you can register to vote if you're 17, as long as you turn 18 by the general election.
Yes.
Why is it that many of us weren't aware? Because I think what we have embedded in our minds is that you register to vote at 18 years of age. How did the word begin to come out now that this has actually been on the books? And then what was the driving force behind also creating the law where teens can pre-register to vote at 16 and 17?
So I want to say that even though the law was existing 10 years ago, there were other organizations that was going into high schools. But you know what? It's just one organization here and another organization there. So guess what? They can't get to all the schools in Illinois, right? So that was another push for me to bring awareness to it. Like, hey, this law is out. Let's make sure our teens know about what's taking place. And I'm going to tell you what a major disconnect that I want to tell you about the 17-year-olds.
Okay.
17-year-olds who are eligible to vote and vote in the primary, as long as they turn 18 by the general election, guess what they could have done? Sign petitions for those same elected officials to get on the ballot. So therefore, that was another thing. I have this hashtag called Your Signature and Your Vote Matter. That was the reason why I started that, because I wanted the teens to know that when you sign your signature, you actually advocating for that elected official to be on the ballot for you to be able to vote for them. So that's why I'm saying that I just want to bring awareness to them. Like, it's so many other things about you just registering to vote. You have ability to actually sign a petition that will allow you to advocate for the person who you want to vote for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's something that I'm sure they were not aware of, but with you making that push to try to educate teens and also educate their parents, if we're not aware, you the only way that you can do better and take action is that you have the knowledge to act upon it. As we are preparing for the general election on November 5th, I do see a lot of posts or information that's shared relative to students who are away at college and their ability to vote. I'm just taking a slight detour to ask this question. Some families may encourage their young adults, if they are away at school, to register for an absentee ballot so that they can make sure that they're able to participate in the voting process, in the election process. I've heard a lot of different information shared about college students being able to vote or register to vote wherever they are attending school. I'm just wondering if you have any information in terms of whether a young adult who is registered in their home state, are they able to then register in another state where they are attending school and vote in that state? And what's the correct or the best process? Because I've heard things like, oh, well, for example, with this election, if you're from Illinois and you are attending school in one of those states where, maybe going in a different direction than, from what folks may want, that they should exercise their rights to vote in the state where they're going to school. For instance, I'll use Illinois and North Carolina as an example, or Illinois and Georgia, for example, depending on which way you'd like the election to go. Do you have any information on what is actually correct?
I would say for me, I have been telling students that are in college that's going away to college that they actually get a mail-in ballot.
Yeah.
So they get the mail-in ballot. I want to say it's already started now that they can actually start doing that now, right? They can start doing the mail-in ballot, and that way they can do it that way. Now, as far as like telling the students the register in their state, I can't. That's a line that I don't want to discuss, right?
Yeah, okay.
But I will say that it's still up under them to decide on who they want to vote for, right? And if they feel that that's a way that that's the person who they want to vote for, because anywhere it goes, you still have to get the ID.
Right, exactly.
That means you have to register at that state where you are. So do you want to have that issue with registering to that state just to register to vote? Or do you want to just vote at your school, at your Illinois, and just get a mail-in ballot?
Okay. And the reason why I brought this up is because I am a parent of 2 college-age students. And this is now their 3rd year in college, but this will be the second time that they are participating in the election process. The first time when they were away, they got the mail-in ballot. They were able to complete it, mail it in. And they're doing the same this time around. But I do hear parents suggesting that their students should vote where they are attending school. But I think what sometimes people forget about, sure, it's a national election that we're voting for a president, but you still have your local races that are important that impacts that student whose home state is wherever they reside. And I think sometimes, we could be have blinders on and be focused on one thing.
Yes.
And not remember that you still have the local election, which is important because that impacts you directly as well.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I just did an interview, and you probably was there when I said it, and I was saying that we have this big momentum about this presidential election, but guess what happens after the presidential election? I was like, these local elections matter as well. These are the people that's actually hands on with you, that you can actually touch and go to their offices. So therefore, just don't put so much effort in the presidential election. We need to understand, like I said before, we need to know who our state rep is, our state senator. We have this new thing called the school board. So we need to start educating these teens about the school board election that's coming up as well. So it's not like, I don't want everything to be just so focused on one thing. This is an ongoing process. This is just not this every 4 years. We have elections every 2 years now, right? So therefore we need to get them involved as much as we can.
Right. And another point that I'd like to stress, and this is for the adults who are listening and viewing, and also for you to share and talk about with your teens. But it is so important for you to understand and know who your judges are that are on the ballot, because they are the ones, whether you believe it or not, or know it or not, you may end up in front of that judge one day. And you should know who these judges are. Get to, researching, and don't just go into the polling booth and just play any, mini, miny, mo with selecting names.
I agree.
That is that. If you don't do anything else, know who the judges are as well, because that is definitely an area where I don't think the focus is on, in terms of when we're making those decisions.
Absolutely. I can't agree with you more about that.
Yeah. So why don't you, so for National Teen Voter Registration Day, which was on September 10th, you talked about how you've been collaborating with schools, and they played a huge role in opening their doors to be able to allow you and others to come in and get our teens registered to vote. Can you talk to us a little bit about the kickoff celebration for National Teen Voter Registration Day that took place on September 10th?
So before I do that, I want to give a little background of National Teen Voter Registration.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So National Teen Voter Registration Day was September 10th, and that's my dad's birthday. And I dedicated that day to him because he actually fought in civil rights, and he actually marched for what we have now, the right to vote, right? And some of my family members was actually jailed during that time. So this is a way for me to keep his legacy alive, remembering him and honoring my family members who actually did this. So a lot of people think it's a kickoff. This actually is a significant day for me because it was actually my dad's birthday.
Oh, I know your dad would be proud.
Yes, I hope. Yes, so National Teen Voter Registration Day came about, like I said, because it was my dad's birthday. And I was just sitting around thinking about, like, what can I do to make this impactful? Whatever. Do I just want one school involved? Do I want other schools involved? So I want to say we literally had, from my understanding for right now, because people are still tallying up everything. So I had to kick off at Leo High School, where we had 5 schools to come to Leo High School.
Okay.
Morgan Park, we had a school in Indiana.
Okay.
We had a school in Bourbonnais, and I want to say we had 6 schools in Lake County that I know of right now, because like I said, there's other people tallying up and hasn't given me all the information yet. So I want to say that was a major impact for everything, and I'm hoping that this will be, like I said, an ongoing thing. I am continuing to register until October 8th, because that's the last day to register, and October 20th is the last day to register online. So pretty much I'm going to October 8th with the forms and October 20th online, because I want to make sure we get into as many high schools as we can by November 5th.
Well, let me just tell you then, what's significant about October 8th is that it's my mom's birthday. So
Okay.
it's something. So make sure that we remind people that they have until October 8th
That's right.
to get registered. That's in person doing that process, but they
Exactly.
can still register online up until
October
October
20th.
20th. Okay,
Mhm.
awesome. And I have relationships. Leo School is one of my partner schools. They have just a
Okay.
phenomenal principal. The young men there are phenomenal. And Morgan Park is my alma mater. So of
Oh,
course, I am biased. So happy that
so
they,
I got both of your schools, right?
yes, so happy that they were a part of the process. I think that is absolutely wonderful. And then, of course, with Morgan Park being a part of Chicago Public Schools, I mean, they have the LSC, which is an elected body. So at
Absolutely.
least students do see the tie-in there,
Mhm.
um, as we are moving forward in the city of Chicago with the elected school board. So that is definitely a great way to get them educated and knowledgeable about their ability to affect change and make an impact, because to be able to participate in the voting process, especially for elected school boards, which will impact their education
Yep.
and their peers, I think that that is definitely something tangible and up close and personal for them to be able to see the impact that they're making in terms of exercising their right to vote. Not only did you have the kickoff on your dad's birthday, and of course he's a Virgo, so that's also, don't you dare. I'm a Virgo, so
I know.
but but you released your book on the same day as well. So how does it feel to be a published author? And why did you decide to write a children's book?
You know what? It's crazy how people see things in you that you don't see, right? I had several people asking, "Are you writing a book?" I'm like, "Why do I need to write a book? I'm just trying to do something like this right here." So
Mhm.
again, the release date was on September 10th.
Yeah.
So it's a story about me and my dad talking about how it's important for me to utilize my voice in voting. And the title of the book is "I Want to Vote." And I
And
and
go ahead.
and also, even though we're talking about "I Want to Vote," I have another book that's coming out towards the end of September, telling that teen telling their dad that I voted.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep.
And so the targeted audience for this book would be younger children so that they can begin to
Yes.
learn about and the importance of participating in the process early on. So we're trying to like ingrain this in their minds early so that when they are of age, they already know what to do.
And another reason why this is so important is because when I was younger, that was the age I was listening to my dad tell stories, right? I used to come home from school. You coming home from school, like they told us this in school, and I guess my dad got tired of me saying that. And he was like, "That's not what happened." So me, like, how you know what happened? So that's when I
Mhm.
started engaging. We started engaging in conversations, and he started telling me about these stories. So the children's book is from 5 to 12 years old, but that was when I started learning about what was taking place. during
Okay.
that time. So that's why I
That-
wanted to start it at that young age.
That's a great way to honor, to honor your dad and the impact that he made on your life. So I think that's absolutely wonderful. Where can people purchase the book?
It's
And
on
both the
Amazon.
books.
It's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble right now.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right, awesome. Now, did you have a book release? I
Not
mean, you were already
not yet.
busy.
Not
Okay,
yet, but I'm planning on having one, but not yet. Not yet.
okay. I just figured let me put that on your radar, but I know you
But
are
they
a
can purchase the book now though.
okay, awesome. I know you are very busy with all of your efforts and I just want to tell you I appreciate what you are doing for our community because this work is very, very important. You know, we talk about just the state of not only our community but the generations, the younger generations, and for you to be passionate about making sure that our young people are registering to vote and they have access to the information. I think is so important, the work that you're doing. So I just want to publicly thank you for making that commitment to our young people, but you're also making a commitment and making a difference to our community as a whole.
I
So I
appreciate
just
that.
say
Thank
thank you
you.
for that. Um, do you have any um, words of, I don't want to say words of wisdom, but maybe there may be someone who is looking at this podcast episode right now and they have a teen at home and maybe they're on the fence, I don't know, about having their child go out and register to vote. What can you say? What would you like to say to not only that parent, but to the teen who may be viewing and maybe on the fence about whether or not they want to register to vote and participate in the process right now?
So I have this motto that says voices of tomorrow start with a vote today. You can encourage anything that you're encouraging now is going to be impactful for tomorrow. So I just want to let the 18 years old and, as you say, the parents know that this is your legacy. This is your legacy to put into place and shape in the future, right? You have so many people keep saying that their voice don't matter. You can never tell me that your voice don't matter because guess what? Everything that we do is a line about someone having a conversation. That's a voice. Everything we do is a conversation. Like now what we doing, this is a conversation. We are in meetings. That's a voice. That's someone telling you something, right? So I just want people to know that, and the teens know that your voice matter. Do not ever let no one discourage you that. You have your own mindset. And guess what? You all have something I didn't have when I was young. Google. You can Google anything, read about it, research it over and over again. If you feel like you don't understand it, go to someone that has the expertise before they can teach you about it before you make any decision. Y'all have everything at your disposal. So that means, guess what? At your fingertips, your vote matter. You walk into the polls, it matters.
That is definitely a great message. And then for if there are any school administrators or even community groups that work with youth, and if they want to connect with you and invite you and your organization out to help get teens registered to vote, how would they go about connecting with you to make those arrangements?
You can email me at Brady Pettis l@gmail.com. And you can also go to my website as GOTVFRTEENS.org.
Okay. Give me that website one more time, please.
GOTVFORTEENS.org.
Got it. Okay. So again, congratulations on a successful National Teen Voter Registration Day on September 10th. Congratulations on the release of your book, I Want to Vote, and your second book. So we've got a lot of ways to connect with you and to support you. So if you want to purchase the books, You can go to Barnes and Noble or either Amazon to order your book. You could do that today. And then if you are interested in connecting with Letina to get teens registered to vote and want her out at your school or community org if there's an event, because you guys are even like some of the neighborhood events that have been going on over the summer. You were out there registering teens. I've seen you. You're one hard working person, so you could definitely reach out to Letina to connect, and just make sure that you become an educated voter or just increase your awareness about those individuals who are running for office. And as adults, it's important that we help our children pay attention and develop an interest in this process as well, because their voices do matter. But you got to also exercise that right to vote so that you can have a say in what's happening. So that's very, very important.
And I want to leave something too with that too. Once you have an elected officials that's not doing what you want, guess what you can do? You can vote them out.
That's right.
So again, your voice still matters. You can still vote them out.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Well, I want to thank you, Letina, for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me for this week's episode of Light It Up. Again, I'm so very proud of you and the work that you're doing. I want to encourage you to keep up your hard work and efforts in making sure that we get these teens registered to vote, and encouraging them that after they register to go out and exercise their right to vote.
That's right.
Well, of course, you always have an open invitation to come back on Light It Up Podcast to talk about any initiatives that you are involved in. So I just want to make sure that you know that you are always welcome here.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So thank you everyone for tuning in to this week's episode of Light It Up. Please make sure that you share this episode with a friend and with a young person and encourage them to register to vote and to exercise their right to vote. The last day to register in person is October 8th. Last day to register to vote online is October 20th. And then, of course, we know early voting will open up, and election day is on Tuesday, November 5th, just in case you wait until the day of. So yes, thank you so much for tuning in. Check me out next week to see if I have another very special guest. So until next time, remember to continue to light it up and shine bright like a diamond. Thanks for joining me this week on Light It Up. Make sure you visit my website at www.lightituppodcast.com or www.aginahmuhammad.com. You can also find me on social media using the handle @LITE-IT-UP-PODCAST. If you like what you've heard, please be sure to hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, I'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or you can simply tell a friend about the show. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday for a new episode. Until next time, light it up and shine bright like a diamond.